hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. My body is a machine that turns any random news story into gun rights propaganda. Want to know how the TSA shoe policy is related to gun rights? I'm glad you asked. As you may have heard, the TSA announced you are no longer required to take your shoes off before they grope your genitals without consent, but they still won't buy you dinner.
That TSA agent got a little handsy.
Of course, this move has authoritarians and police state enthusiasts absolutely tearing their hair out, screaming bloody murder about how dangerous the move is. But would you like to know the words no TSA agent has ever uttered in the entire history of the organization? Hey everybody, I just caught a terrorist!
That is the genius of TSA!
Yeah, in the entire quarter-century history of the agency, they have not stopped a single terrorist plot. They're also not very good at finding weapons. 10 years ago, they were missing about 95% of simulated weapons in audits. A couple years later, they did improve to where they were able to catch about 30% of the fake weapons. Since then, though, they stopped publishing their scores, so I don't think it's rational to believe they have gotten any better. So now we get to the part where I explain what all of this has to do with gun rights propaganda. The TSA says they caught 6,678 firearms last year. If we're being extremely generous, that figure represents the 30% of firearms successfully detected.
Let me do the math here.
So that means about 16,000 people flew with firearms in carry-on bags that were not detected. And during that time, there were no hijackings or even unjustified but somewhat understandable non-judicial euthanasias. Let me say that again. 16,000 people unlawfully flew with a gun and nothing bad happened at all. Let me go ahead and bottom line that for you because there are two important takeaways and one of them isn't quite as obvious. Yes, obviously, guns don't cause violence. If they did, there'd be a bunch of shoot-em-ups in the air. But the other important takeaway is gun control policies are totally impotent. Even when you screen every single person and impose strict penalties for having a weapon, it is literally impossible to disarm everyone. And if you can't guarantee the bad guys are disarmed, what possible reason would good men have to tolerate attempts to disarm them?
Like, it's funny, but awkward and sad at the same time.
But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality two-way propaganda like this without sponsors. So let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Springfield Armory.
Imagine a 9mm carbine with roller delay action just like Kraut Space Magic. Now imagine it didn't have garbage ergonomics. The brand new Kuna from Springfield Armory gives you that roller delayed, smooth recoil you're looking for with reversible, non-reciprocating charging handle and MB absolutely everything.
And by 1776 Insurance. Most homeowners' policies only cover up to $2,500 for firearms. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got more than that in just optics. 1776 gives you comprehensive coverage against breakage, theft, fire, and burglary for all of your guns, and you don't have to give them your serial numbers. Hey, y'all down for another installment in the Professional Enough files? Control freaks are always saying how only cops and soldiers are professional enough to be trusted with firearms. Yet cops are twice as likely to shoot innocent bystanders as armed citizens and 6 times more likely to be convicted of a crime as CCW holders. Today's example is Officer Brandon Thomas of Windsor, Connecticut. Like many other cops, he sent a live round instead of deploying his taser and called it an accident. But thankfully, he's also a bad shot, so nobody got hurt. Thomas stands out for a few other reasons though. The first, and credit where it's due, the Inspector General rejected his claim that it was an accident. IG Robert Devlin wrote in his report that a mistake is not the same thing as an accident. He noted an officer whose gun discharged in the holster had suffered an accident, while Devlin fully intended to use force and to discharge the weapon he had in his hand. Specifically, Devlin wrote, "He mistook his firearm for his taser and he fired it. He fully expected and intended for the item in his hand to deploy. The fact that he pulled out his firearm instead of his taser does not make the discharge an accident. The discharge was not accidental, it was an error. Officer Thomas bears responsibility for that error." So, he was arrested and charged with second-degree reckless endangerment and unlawful discharge of a firearm. That is incredibly based and not at all what I was expecting. But incredibly, Thomas still has a job for now. The Windsor police did say he's on restricted duty though. Now here's the best part, and honestly the only reason I felt this incident rose to the lofty standards of the professional files. This loser did the same thing again in remedial training. Imagine being so bad at your job that you got arrested for doing it wrong. But now you know what you did, and it is your chance to prove you've got what it takes to do the job, so you put all your focus into getting it right, and then you still get it wrong.
I had one job.
Hey, I'm not saying cops shouldn't have guns. I'm saying it's dumb for control freaks to pretend they are some sort of mystical priesthood class separate from the rest of us. So Donald Trump Jr. can't be bothered to ask his dad to put some pressure on the Senate to keep NFA reform in his big bloated bill, but he does want to help a gun dealer go public with their stock. Back in January, Trump Jr. announced plans to help Grabagun go public, and now I guess it's official. Next week, you'll be able to buy their stock, largely because Trump Jr., through 1789 Capital, helped them go public through a financial vehicle called a SPAC, which is notable to finance nerds because I guess they fell out of fashion during the Coof scare and now maybe they're coming back. What's interesting to us is that gun-related companies don't often go public, and this is seen by some as a counter against woke ESG investing. Grabagun has been around for about 15 years, but I don't know anything about them as a company or how being purchased by a publicly traded shell company will impact their business. But the gun industry is not a zero-sum game, and a rising tide lifts all boats. I wish them the utmost success in their efforts to bring arms to the people. Californistan has some of the wildest laws imaginable. I mean, you know they're strict, but they're also utterly insane. For example, it's not just illegal to open carry for Khalistani subjects. No, it's illegal to open carry without a permit. Not just a carry permit, a special open carry permit.
Extra special.
I swear I am not making this up, sources down there in the doobly-doo as always. And you can only get an open carry permit if you live in a county with a population less than 200,000. And even if you do live in a rural county and get an open carry permit, you're not allowed to carry openly anywhere else in Californistan, not even other rural counties. But that law is facing a 3-judge panel on the 9th Circuit right now, composed of 2 Trump appointees and a W appointee. Some of the comments the judges are making are encouraging, but even if we win here, you can bet the state will request an en banc hearing, and the full 9th Circuit is unlikely to reverse any sort of sane ruling. What do you guys think? Will Californistan keep its wacky carry laws? Now, before I give you that moment of zen that I know you skipped ahead for, it's okay, I still love you, I have to do that thing YouTubers do and remind you that the tube of views often unsubscribes people from wrongthink like this. So be sure to primary that like button and drill the 3rd hole on the subscribe button, if you think we earned it. And now, for your moment of zen.
I think it's gonna be quiet now. We're gonna be good to go. Let's find out, huh? Shall we? Safety off, I learned that last time. Not quiet. Nope.
Hello, friend. Do you like pews and pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pure American pew propaganda at the low, low price of freedom? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.